Time for the Suterman Show with Pat Harty. And me, Tommy Lang, filling in for 2 more weeks. It's brought to you by Deary Brothers Ford, Hawkeye Title and Settlement and Steve Anderson, Mike's E-Keys for Cars, Supple's Building and Remodeling and GT Car, 800 Rose and Hawkeye Courier, the Midtown Family Restaurants, Harty and Stocker Jewelers in downtown Iowa City, Diamond Dream Sports Academy, Senior Benefits, Premier Automotive in North Liberty, the Ox Yoke Inn in the Amanas. I need to get back there and eat sometime. Streets Maintenance, Dr. Lance Forbes, Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids, Big Dog Tech Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that's Wapsa Pinnigan in the background.
Yes.
Now on mic 1, it is Mr. Tom Suter, and entering the studio, Pat Harty from HawkFanatic.com.
And he'll be on mic 2, Tommy.
He'll be on mic 2. I'll make a note of that.
Yes.
Make a note of that.
And mic 3 will be dormant.
You can put Wapsie on mic 3 if you want. It's your call.
She's kind of a one-trick pony, so to speak.
That's true. She's more of a background character. No offense to her. That's sometimes what people have. That's the role people have to play. She's She's Ava Hayden. She's an important background player who can come to the forefront when needed. Look at that, how I brought it
That
in.
was good.
Thank you.
That was good. It's a tough loss for
Yeah,
the
it was.
women.
Watched it with my mom last night.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was not, it was fun for a while. It was an exciting game.
It was.
It was, but just not quite enough.
No. Pat, you get a chance to watch the game, I imagine?
I watched it and wrote an article.
Oh, I read your article. So obviously you watched it.
Yeah, it was an exciting game, but it was not a very. Well,
it wasn't well played, was it?
It was a grinder. It was choppy. It was just. It was tough to watch at times, and I know there's some now that are blaming the officials.
No.
What's funny is there's a photo of Sid driving to the basket late in the game, and it shows 2 Ohio State players defending her very tightly, aggressively, but there's an argument on nope, that's all ball, nope, that's arm. So it's so judgmental or so subjective and so hard to tell either way that they're arguing about whether it's a foul or not. I didn't think. I mean, Cody McMahon had 2 fouls in the immediately, and I thought one was a touch foul.
Yeah,
I thought there were some weird calls both ways, but I don't think the officials really decided.
No.
I'll tell you what, though.
No, they didn't.
Iowa, it showed me again, though, they can play with anybody. Now, they have a knack for losing close games to everybody, I mean, other than that one USC game. But that is a trend that's getting a little disturbing now, especially now since it's one and done.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. I mean, I felt bad for them. They played hard. And I know that I'm getting a lot of, there are a lot of why didn't Ava play more this season. And hindsight's always such a powerful ingredient.
It is. What people forget, though, is Ava picked up 2 fouls in a number of games immediately.
She did, and she had a couple defensive lapses yesterday, but, man, you cannot deny her quickness. I can't recall Iowa, maybe Tangela Smith. I mean, having somebody – she runs the court like Stolke runs the court, but she's a good 2 inches taller. Now, like I said, though, I still haven't seen her make a 15-foot jumper with a dribble or 2 with a defender on a view. Has she done that?
I haven't seen that.
If she can do that, watch out, because then you could move her to power forward. I know they had her and Hannah in at the same time last night, but it seems like when Hannah's at power forward, she just gets lost in the offense. I don't know what it is.
I thought they played better together last night than they did the time before.
And yet they only scored 59 points.
Well, we didn't shoot very well.
And nor did I mean, Cody McMahon's an interesting player. She makes those 2 early threes, and then I think she had a couple threes before she didn't hit the rim. Did you remember the one where she just hit the side of the backboard?
Yes.
I was like, what the hell?
I think I said, what the hell was that?
That is one of the differences still between men's and women's. But wouldn't you say? You don't see a lot of that where there's Ohio State, other than that, what her name, Theory? She was the killer.
Yeah.
Because there was a stretch where nobody for Ohio State except for one player could make a perimeter shot. But then, of course, Iowa was going through the thing. Lucy, give Ohio State credit. They changed the way they defended. But I'll tell you, Lucy took 9 shots in the first quarter. I think she exerted so much energy in that first quarter. And then she only took 9 the rest of the way. She scored 12 in the first half, 2 in the second.
Yeah, Ohio State took her out
They
of the
took
game.
her out, and I think she took herself out, though. I think she got tired.
Well,
I think
that could be.
I think she was doing so much. But yeah, it's tough loss. But what are they? They're 22-10. I'm guessing they'll be a 7 or an 8 seed. Do you think?
I think 6.
You think they
That's
can go
what
up to
they're
6?
projecting on Big Ten.
That's
Yeah.
6. Okay. I
Yeah.
mean, there was talk of 6 or
That
5.
Autumn
If they,
Johnson, or what's her name? She does the bracketing for Big Ten Network and thought of 6.
because I saw if they won yesterday, they thought they would be a 5 or a 6. So okay, if they lose, I mean, but I think they're out of the 8-9. Obviously,
I
don't you
hope
think?
so.
I think, but you never know. You never
I
know.
hope so.
10 losses is a lot of losses.
It is.
So we'll see. But I'm guessing either a 6 or a 7. And
Also of note yesterday, too, this is Iowa playing its 3rd straight game. Ohio State was fresh.
Yeah.
Not using it as an excuse, but it's certainly
well, it sounds like an
Could have been a
excuse.
factor.
Just admit it what it is. It's an
I-
excuse.
I'm-
You're part of the media. You're
I'm
defending your Hawks.
I'm not going to be a hater.
We love the Hawks here.
We love the Hawks.
The officials and fatigue are the reason they're going home. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
That's our statement.
I
for
would
game.
like the officials thing to stop because it seems like every game
Every game they're
there's
against
one
the
call
Hawks.
that everybody says
against
that was
the
it.
Hawks.
And I'm tired of that.
And Izzo's
Yeah.
on the court all the time.
Always.
Yes, he is.
Always. It's
Well,
not.
I'll stand by that.
It's not fair to the Hawks and
No.
us, and we're the Hawks.
Haters. Let's see who this is. Hello.
Hey, Tommy.
Hi.
How you doing?
How you doing?
Good.
Sup?
He didn't say hi to you. He said hi
No.
to Tommy.
No, he
Never
didn't.
says hi to
But
me.
he is Tommy to certain.
Oh, are you
I am
talking?
Tommy
you're-
also.
Okay, so basically saying hi to you guys and not me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, the women got beat last night by Ohio State. I saw on. Ooh, I'm back in the grid.
We've been talking about it for about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep,
true.
they did indeed.
We're talking about it. We're actually making excuses for why
Was
they lost.
unfortunate.
What do you think, Paul? What do you think?
Officials.
They should be rated in the top 20.
Oh, rated and
I don't
like
know.
ranked.
Well, I don't
You
know
think
about
Iowa
that.
should be a top 25 team?
I don't think they're going to be rated in the top 20 right now.
No.
No. Maybe if they'd won and
Well, had they won yesterday?
Then
they-
that's another discussion. But they didn't, and they're not.
They played tough teams for so many years, or so many days this month.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, they did.
It's March.
It's a grind.
It's a grind, kind of like the show.
Yeah, this show was a grind.
Yeah, and the men are out of the show, right, for the
Not-
Big Ten tournament.
No, the
Now
men
there's
could
a
win
pecking
tomorrow.
order.
The men could win tomorrow, make the tournament, then make a run in the Big Ten tournament and win it, and then make the NCAA tournament.
That's
I mean,
right.
I know that's not, but that is possible. But
That is?
no. If the men lose tomorrow, they're out. They're done. They
Yep.
So there's a pecking order in the men's.
Well,
there's
Yeah.
15 teams that finish in places 1 through 15 get in, and 16, 17, and 18 don't.
That would be a
and
pecking order.
Iowa is fighting for
15.
number 15.
Yes.
That's Tom.
Yes. Yes, it is. How are you?
Oh, good.
Good.
I just got back. I'm on the grid.
That's good.
Got to get back to Iowa about April 15th.
Oh, good.
Just
Hey,
in time
hey.
to pay your taxes.
Yep.
You could do it in person.
Yeah. Captain,
Already
will be-
did that.
Captain. I haven't paid
Captain
my.
would love that.
I've not done my taxes yet. I always do them.
We did ours this week. And
I
it
always
was
do
not
mine
pretty.
first week in April. I do mine. Oh, I don't have to worry that much because I didn't make much money. So
It's awful. Okay,
Yeah,
Paul.
I'm
Thanks for the
listening.
call, buddy.
Robert Earl.
Anything else,
Robert
Paul?
Earl Keane.
What's that?
Robert Earl Keane. Good music.
Yes.
Texas.
Okay.
all right.
Well, thank you, Paul.
I'm not
Chime
quite sure.
in once in a while.
Okay.
Get on the grid.
All right, you
You're
take
breaking
care.
up, Paul.
you,
Oh,
Paul.
my God. It must have disconnected somehow.
Breaking up is hard to do,
Yeah.
according to Neil Sedaka.
Just Now, I don't even know who that is.
I don't know. I don't know what that was about.
He's your guy. I mean,
Paul,
you're
maybe,
the-
maybe it's somebody to watch over him.
well, actually, you say Ann's the connection, right?
Well, sort of, and he was friends with Billy.
Well, sadly, Billy's not here, and he can't defend it.
This is also true.
See who this is. Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi, Karn.
Hey, what was the reason why they played the Canadian national anthem last night?
For what event?
for the gymnastics, I am not sure.
Well, don't we have a couple of Olympic
Well, we do.
gymnasts from Canada?
Actually, we do. So that's probably the answer, Tommy.
Thank you.
Well, they're going to be.
I was busy trying to pick up some stuff, and all of a sudden we're playing the Canadian national anthem.
They're going to be.
Did you boo? Did you boo?
Why we were?
They're going to be our 51st state eventually, aren't they?
Yeah, Karn's going to.
Now, see, the other gymnastics meets, though, they didn't sing "O Canada." Right?
No, yeah.
So I'm not sure.
They didn't sing it at anything. This was the first
I heard
time
Iowa
them
State hates
sing it.
America, and that's why they played it. That's probably it.
They what?
Iowa State hates America.
Okay.
We're fighting with Canada right now. I don't know if you knew that.
And we wanted to show that we still love them.
Yes.
Yep. We want them to be our 51st
okay.
state. Do you want Canada as the 51st state?
They wanted to piss
too?
off the MAGA softball coach.
That'd be a...
And what's with the softball?
There's a lot going on
Now,
there.
there's a story.
Unfortunately, we only got one side of the story.
Yes.
I mean, I will say I'll give the DI credit. They had some good.
Oh, they got some good information.
Well, I mean, the guy just sent them an audio message.
Yeah,
that's interesting. But I of course, I use their stuff and attribute it to them. But I described it as he gave his version of the events.
Right.
Because I mean, I've reached out to softball. Nobody's commented. I mean, they're playing down there. I get it, but there's definitely two sides to this story. I mean, this guy. The Daily Iowan gave him a platform and it's unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate that it came to this. But you see his background. He's a military man, Green Beret. And he's got certain principles that he stands by, and no pun intended on that, but it's two differing views on this, and I don't know if there's ever going to be a common ground, and he didn't seem to think, and he left.
Yeah.
Well, were they talking about somebody taking the knee to the national anthem?
Yeah, I mean, that's, yes.
Yeah, some of the players allegedly did it. Well, it seems like they did do it.
The only ones I've ever seen taking this knee are softball and field hockey.
Well, football players have done it.
Football did it, yeah.
Basketball team.
That's right.
The entire basketball team, not during the
too.
anthem, but remember the basketball for 3 seasons? They knelt and they remember they would read some script or something. The basketball team,
they'd read something.
Yeah, then they'd stand for the anthem.
That.
But yeah, no, there's still some football players who did it this past fall. Not many.
Well, I do know people that this still bothers them. I have a friend who will not come into the national anthem in field hockey until it's over with, and the same way with softball.
Yeah,
I do know this really bothers quite a few people.
The knee, they won't come in because the players are kneeling?
They stay outside for a while.
Well, good.
They won't come in. They
good.
won't come in for the national anthem, and then as soon as it's over, then they'll come in and watch the game.
Well, they can stay outside as far as I'm concerned.
Stand for your principles. Stay away.
I just don't understand.
To me, I don't quite understand the whole thing. But
to each his own. Just mind your own business. And
I think most people, if you don't like it, it's fine, but people don't raise a big fuss.
Like I said, I stand.
Yeah, I do too.
I do
and
too.
I would prefer that people stand, but if they don't, that's their business.
I don't care what other people do.
It's
do
their
what
business. Now, somebody's...
We did have a guy in front of us at football who didn't take his cap off, and my sister let him know that, hey, sir, take your cap off. He said, he was a Japanese, and he said, this isn't my country.
Oh, well,
He
fair
could,
enough. Okay.
but he didn't take his cap off.
Wow.
I thought, I didn't care.
I guess that's not a shooting offense to me.
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's hope that the wrestlers can do great today, and the women I wish had just shot just a teeny bit better last night.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
Yeah.
But they didn't.
Okay, guys, well, have a good day.
Thanks, Karen.
I mean, the wrestlers, of course, have a tall...
Okay, now they're in a shock.
I know you're about to bring up.
The Iowa women wrestlers are not in first place.
They're in second place.
Is it North
Central
College?
They've got 111. Iowa's got 107.5, so it's close.
Yes.
That's interesting because somebody listened to our show one time and we were just joking about just foregone conclusion, and somebody reached out to me on Twitter and said, hey, it's not, there is one, and he pointed to this team.
Somebody called us and said that.
Yeah, and so...
Said it was that team, North Central or whatever.
Yeah.
So what are their Hawk fans asking for Clarissa Chun's job?
Yes. Yes.
Is it the officials?
The officials. Well, I think everybody's still alive going into today.
I saw that.
And like 10 of them are in the finals.
So it's
semifinals.
So it's a 2-team race.
It basically is.
It sure looks like it.
And where is this North Central? I mean, where are they?
Well,
located?
it's north.
They're in North Central.
To the left or the
North
right.
Central.
Do we know what
part of
state
the
they're
country.
in? Do we know what state they're in?
I don't.
I'll try and find out.
I don't know why I want to say Indiana or Illinois.
I don't have the slightest
Just
idea.
yet, he's going to type in North Central Women's Wrestling, I would imagine.
That's exactly what I'm talking
Lance
about.
must not be a listener, and I think he would have texted by now.
North Central College Athletics. The Cardinals. Got a nice website here. Menu.
Isn't that funny to think the two premier powers are Iowa, a Big Ten school, and North Central? Sounds like the junior high I went to.
The only thing it doesn't have is how to get
Where
a
they're
phone
from?
number. Yeah. There's something called hotels. Maybe that'll give us an idea. Naperville, Illinois.
Oh,
Illinois, okay.
That's right. That's right, because I do remember
Or at least that's the
somebody
hotels
transferring either from Iowa or to there, and I remember the Naperville. Okay.
Yeah, I've driven through Naperville 100,000
So have I.
times. I don't recall seeing a sign
Oh, there
for
probably
North
is.
Central.
Because
but-
you go through on the same road pretty much every time,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have too. And
I don't think it's very big.
well, Naperville is,
Well,
but that's
North Central Community
that's when the drive to Chicago starts to get annoying. You know, Naperville. Then
You got to
start,
feel like you're there, but you're
But
not.
you know you're getting closer.
Well, you know you're getting closer because eventually the traffic goes from going 90 to 80, then 70, and then you're bumper to bumper going 55 and 60 for the next 7 or 8 miles. Then you get down to the Mannheim Strangler. You know where that is, Mannheim Road.
Yes.
They used to have that bottleneck where, they've fixed it, but they used to have, 6 lanes converging into 2. I remember times there traveling with the press citizen to go to stuff, being stuck there for an hour, just not moving and just going insane. And that happened multiple times. And they called it the Mannheim Strangler. It was right about Westchester, Illinois. And then you get closer, and, oh, man, I could
So
don't
there
miss that.
actually is a third college that's close. McKendree University
Okay.
is
Well,
at 103.
I stand corrected. and,
you go.
Clarissa Chung needs to do some soul searching.
I know.
She needs to ask herself, is this where we need
Clarissa
to be?
fatigue.
Oh, God. I mean,
Chun Shun.
You have a bell on
wasn't that a popular song in the 80s? No, that was Wang Chung.
Everybody Wang Chung
Everybody
tonight,
Wang
yeah.
Chung. Who did that song?
Wang Chung.
I hated that song, and I bet one of you guys liked it.
I
Yeah,
kind of did.
I kind of like Dance Hall Days more, but I did like
I did too. Dance Hall Days had a better
Wasn't
feel.
that
but-
Dance Out? Or did they do?
That was their first hit.
Okay, I did like. I hated the Wang Chung thing, but the other one you just mentioned, that was tolerable.
Dance Hall Days, yeah.
I didn't mind that one, but I never understood everyone's. What when you were Wang Chunging? What were you doing?
I don't know. I just remember Frasier quoting it on Cheers one night. He just came in and just quoted the song, and they just continued whatever.
Do you know what Wang Chunging is, Suter? If you're gonna-
we don't talk about this as a family show.
Yeah,
okay.
keep your Wang Chung out of this,
all right,
please.
all right.
Hey, Wang Chung, it's this club's restricted. Don't tell him you're Jewish. Hello.
Hey, Lang.
Hey.
Hey, do you remember there was a Saturday morning cartoon that I think Everybody Wang Chung Tonight was the theme song?
I don't remember that.
Yeah. You might be a couple years older than me.
Well, that could very well be.
Possible.
I haven't
Do you,
watched
do
it.
you remember it at all, or are you just kind of guessing?
No. I distinctly remember, and I think
you don't
it was
remember
on
what
right
the cartoon
after Hulk Hogan and the Iron Sheik and the whole WWF.
Yes.
If it wasn't on Johnny Quest, I didn't hear it.
Yeah.
Right on.
All right.
Everybody Wang Chung this weekend.
Okay.
Johnny Quest should have had musical guest stars, like have the Doors show up or something.
Captain hates
episode?
Captain. Every time I bring up Johnny, he hated that show.
I love that show.
Captain hates it.
I didn't
There's
like
a
it.
parody of it called The
Should we-
Venture Brothers that was on Adult Swim for a while.
Was
It
that
really
Race
good.
Bannon?
Yeah.
and Haji. Suter didn't like it either.
Venture
And
Brothers
the
is one of my
worst-
favorite shows. It's
The
a great
worst
show.
animation
Oh,
in
terrible.
history.
Just up from Clutch Cargo.
Clutch Cargo was
For some
awful.
reason, as a
No,
little
Clutch
kid, I
Cargo was
liked
worse.
Johnny Quest as a little
did
kid.
too.
I just remember watching
Because it was a cartoon that had violence. And,
and it was a cartoon
not
that
cartoon violence.
and it looked a little more real than the regular cartoon. I mean,
yeah.
and so, but I
you
remember
watch,
remember the giant spider,
the giant robot spider.
robot spider. I remember
Yes.
that one. Yeah,
That was one of the scary. That scared me as a kid.
that scared me too. Remember the natives that were on the boat, and the boat kept sinking into the water, but they never reacted to it. They kept just moving it forward like they were just going in the water.
Yes.
I remember that. Like
I
they
didn't think of what
never,
you were talking about, but
they
yeah.
never reacted to going deeper and deeper into the water. They
No.
just kept doing the same
I
motions.
do not remember.
That was
Sorry
that
for
was
leaving you out.
peak Johnny Quest.
It was great.
And what was the dog's name? Bandit.
Bandit.
Bandit. Dog's name was Bandit because
Yes,
it looked like a
was.
bandit.
Yeah, that big sort of sarcophagus head fell on it, and it
Yep.
scared the bad guys. They thought the evil god was there.
Yep, I
And
remember
it was
that
a dog
one.
with a thing on its head.
Jesus.
It's great stuff.
Remember,
Good
remember
God.
Luke LaRue, the werewolf? Remember that episode?
No, I don't.
My God, you guys.
I'm going deep on Johnny Quest.
Johnny Quest.
Jesus. I don't
Race
know.
Bannon. Race was their protector.
Yes. And who was the bad guy, the like stereotypical like evil Asian guy?
Who was that?
Dr. Z or something
Is it
like
Wang
that.
Chung?
Was
was
it
it
Dr.
Dr.
Z?
Sinister? Wasn't it Dr. Sinister?
I think it was Wang Chung.
It might have.
No, it was not Wang Chung.
Would be a good name for a villain.
Was it Dr. Sinister? I know who you're talking about.
I guess I didn't watch enough Johnny
Yeah,
Quest.
Dr. Z. I was
Oh,
correct.
Dr. Z. I don't know what I'm thinking of Dr. Sinister.
Because this show I watched, The Venture Brothers, they actually just used those characters because I think they got rights or something. Like Dr. Z was a villain on it, and Johnny Quest was older and was like on meth.
This guy was sort of the same thing as who was the enemy against James Bond? The organization.
Dr. No?
Well, then, but what was he part of? You know, that Spectra.
No, yeah, I want that Hydra. That's
Dr.
Marvel.
Z was Johnny Quest's version of Spectra. There you
was,
go.
yeah.
There you go. What do you think, Suter?
I think I'm glad I didn't watch enough Johnny Quest.
Yeah. See, well, you can't contribute to this conversation.
I can't.
You were on the road, probably.
I was.
No,
Drinking.
Johnny Quest was 60s and 70s. He was-
70s.
I didn't
No,
like.
that's true.
I didn't like Johnny Quest, so I didn't watch it very much.
And you were older than us too. That
Yes.
made
Yeah.
that made a difference. I mean, Johnny, you were way
I
beyond.
stopped watching Saturday cartoons probably early '60s,
I remember watching
mid '60s maybe.
I remember watching Scooby Doo as a kid.
No, I didn't.
But
watch
when
it.
when they started having Jonathan Winters and the Globetrotters and stuff, they lost me.
Don
I was,
Knotts. Don Knotts was
Don
in it.
Knott. They lost me. I was done. Then Scrappy Doo.
Oh, Scrappy was terrible.
You remember Scrappy Doo?
Vaguely, I didn't watch Scooby Doo.
Yeah, see, I did.
I'm glad we put this one on YouTube. I decided to put this
Hey.
show on YouTube.
Yep.
I was like, we'll talk about the softball coach, the women's
Which we
basketball
have.
team.
Well, I mean,
Talk
the
about
softball situation's unfortunate. It's a delicate situation. And right now we have one side of the story, and we may never hear Iowa's side of the story.
Yeah.
My guess is we won't. My guess is they went through some type of separation. He made a point of telling the Daily Iowan that he did not officially resign. No, they got rid of you. It looks like, don't you interpret it? They got rid of him.
I believe so.
But his side of the story doesn't make him look that good.
No, I mean, somebody.
No.
No, the feedback I have is people are against him, and I think he thought he was going to use that audio message, send it to the student newspaper, and this is going to show me as the fighting for my right to. Yeah, he's got a right. It seems like he's pissed that he couldn't get the players to do what he wanted.
Right.
Yes,
Well,
exactly.
okay, so the part of the story that kind of, for me, kind of makes me kind of not feel bad for the guy. So he said some of the players didn't like the other players kneeling for the anthem and didn't want to bring it up. So he held a meeting to address it, and then those players didn't want to bring it up at the meeting, which to me says they didn't like the players kneeling, but they weren't going to make an issue of it. But he wanted to make an issue of it, which I don't get why you would divide your team like that when they're getting along. They were winning. They were 13-5 when you got quit.
Yeah.
It came down to it was either going to be his way or the highway,
Yeah.
and Iowa.
And he's the one who hit the highway.
And Iowa was not going to let him do that because Iowa is in a really delicate situation here. You don't want to act. You don't want to act like you're favoring any side of this.
Yeah.
And to me, if I'm the players, you learn to deal with it. Okay, so and so and so and so, they're going to kneel during the anthem.
And
That's
I'm
business.
not gonna, and
And
that's
I'm going
my
to stand
choice.
and have my right hand in my heart, and and then we're going to go and play.
And we're all good.
And what's unfortunate is Iowa softball. You know, they're 14-6, but remember they were okay early. I mean, we ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, we'll see what they do in the
for
Big
sure.
Ten.
Yeah.
They
They're
have
not doing
enough.
good against the right
they got
teams.
no, they're not. They have enough to worry about on the field. It's unfortunate that this came to this.
Yeah.
And I blame him partly. He's the head coach. He should have figured out a way to make it work.
Oh, I blame him 100%.
But no, I don't. When I read his audio message, because I give the DI credit. I mean, they did say in an audio message sent to the Daily Iowan, and they did say that they tried to get a hold. And like I said, I reached out to Iowa. I go, does anyone from softball want to react to what this guy just said in this message to the Daily Iowan? And I reached out to the Iowa softball contact, but in fairness, I reached out to her in the second inning of their second game. But when they get back, it'll be interesting to see. But I don't think Beth Getz is going to say anything of any detail. Do you?
Well, I don't know.
I mean,
think
she's
they already did. She
well,
issued
did
a
it-
statement.
Oh, well, no, she issued a statement in the release,
Right.
But it basically said she was appreciative of of the players stay in the course and whatever. It didn't say anything about. I don't think we're going to get any.
Oh, about the specifics of why.
Well, she can't.
She can't. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're limited in what they can say.
Absolutely.
Whereas he can say whatever he wants.
Yes.
And he did. But no, after I read that, I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if you thought this was going to make you out to be the hero. Didn't work in my case. No. And the first 3 or 4, when I added the Daily Iowan's comments to the little brief because I just used Iowa's release. I didn't write. I'm not writing a column on this. I'm not going to get involved in this right now. And but the first 2 or 3 comments were like, well, this makes this from reading this guy's comments. He's the problem. That was the feedback I got.
Absolutely.
He was the
problem.
I
wonder, because it's Iowa, if he's trolling for sympathy, because I could see, the legislature's in session.
Well, don't you find it interesting? Now, the Daily Iowan
turn into a MAGA thing.
I will admit, I did not reach out to the guy for comment. I knew about this. I mean, we've talked about this for a week.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known about what went on, but Iowa's limited in what they can say. And I knew a release was going to come out at some point, and I knew the Daily Iowan was working on it too, but I made no effort to. Because to me, in a story like this, and I'm not blaming the Daily, but you would have liked to have had the other side of the story.
Sure.
But they did try to get a hold, it said, of some softball players. My guess is, do you think Iowa tells the softball players, please don't comment? I mean, they can't order them not
probably.
To. My guess is I'll be surprised. But right now they're competing, I get it. But no, I've got calls out saying, hell, if anyone from the softball program wants to come on this show Monday or whenever, they're welcome to come on and address this. That's an open invitation. If you want to come on Monday, anyone come on. We're on from 9 to 11 o'clock on Monday.
I just think you've got an HR issue.
That's exactly what it is.
We're not going to hear squat.
That's exactly what it is. And I was told earlier this is an HR, and we're waiting for. Yep. And Iowa's release was as brief as it could be.
I'm just worried it's going to become political. It's going to be.
It already is. Yeah, it already is political.
You get the governor will comment on it and want to do something.
It's already political. The softball team's woke, and they're libtards, and they hate America and all that. I've heard all that stuff already, and that it's just exhausting.
I'd say people boycott the games, but how could you tell? I mean, no offense, but they haven't been very good the last couple of years, and they haven't had very good crowds.
No.
It's unfortunate.
I had to give you a bell on that one.
It was mean.
But it was mean.
Fair, though.
It was mean, but true.
So sometimes mean even gets praise here.
But I can see that. I'm not going to go to these softball games now. Well, you weren't going before.
No, the program has really, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm not sure, but if you were listing Gary's biggest mistakes, the way Gail Blevins' departure was handled. Was
for sure. For sure.
Mean, just not good. I mean, she made winning here look so easy, and man, it's not.
She did, man, and so we see.
When I moved up here in the early '90s, part of what I did, I covered football, but during the spring and summer, even football slows down. It's a little different now with the internet and stuff. Football's year round, but back then you could actually take a month in May and April and not have to worry about Iowa football much. And I used to love covering softball. I chose it over baseball.
It's a great facility.
They'd play double headers in like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
they'd win 1-0 and 2-1.
I think it's a better game. It's a faster
game. And Gail's teams were always so fundamentally sound and well coached. And her press everything. You knew she'd address the team afterwards, then she'd come up and she'd do her press conference in the press box with you. You just knew everything, and it was laid out perfectly, and it was fun. I mean, I loved covering softball. Back then.
Like it's a great facility. You're right there, walkable from restaurants. Not a lot of Hawkeye facilities can say that.
No, that's a good point. No,
free parking.
Yeah.
I mean,
and a decent amount of parking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
It should be a better program, but it's not.
Well, yeah, and actually they've added restaurants since Gail's days. Think about it. You got Jethro's right across the street.
Right.
You didn't have any of that stuff back then. You got, Chicago is. Well, that's
Chicago.
That's Jethro's, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, Jethro's old Chicago. Oh, I thought you meant the Rotworst place. I think that's like a pho place right now.
When you got Freddy's.
Yeah, Freddy's.
No.
Tailgaters is not too far.
You could argue that softball's the best setup at Iowa.
Harty's get one of those biscuits.
Monster
biscuit
or
whatever.
That means 8-2 of.
8-2 of. I was there to witness that in person.
Yeah.
We used to do those remotes.
That was those monster breakfast things with sausage, ham, eggs.
Just covered in gravy.
And didn't Feeney dare him to eat two?
He dared him to eat two of them.
And he did.
And it did not take long.
Yeah,
it was within the remote. He finished it.
And I got bloated just hearing that he had done that.
Yes,
that was amazing. But no, the softball situation, it's unfortunate, and it's unfortunate that there's more of this racial stuff here at Iowa. It's just I don't get it. And some of the stuff he said about the Iowa, I knew they had these problems before I got here. But
I came here and said we needed to fix things.
I mean,
you're not the head coach.
That guy used that audio message just to build himself up. I will admit, as I kept reading, I only used 2 of his quotes, and of course I attribute it all to the Daily Iowan.
I did too.
Sure.
But I didn't use much because I'm like, I'm not going to give this guy another stage. Some of his stuff was, and he just kept taking shots at the softball program, saying, hey, I'm the hero that's going to come here and fix it, and they don't want to cooperate. And his quotes really turned me off. I
didn't like the attitude where when he was named interim coach, said, I need to fix some things. It's like, it's not your program.
No.
You're the interim coach.
Yeah, and I need to fix some things to my liking, is what he should have said. And I respect his service. Green Beret, I mean.
Yeah. Oh, no, absolutely, but
this is a softball program. It's a roster that's got a bunch of different people on it, and you got to figure out a way to all get along. And I just don't think kneeling or not kneeling for the anthem should be a team divider and a season wrecker. But I'll tell you, the guy stands on his principles because he's gone.
Okay, goodbye.
He didn't. It sounds
Green
like
Beret, man. He's a man of his word.
It sounds like he didn't want to compromise or whatever, and Iowa just said, "See ya,
ta-ta."
Yeah.
And now they're down to their pitching coach, who's in his first year.
Yeah.
I wonder what he's thinking right now. But hey, ladies, do whatever you want during the national anthem because I'm the only one that's left. I mean, think about that though. He wasn't even in the program last year, and I hope when things are going. I haven't heard anything about Renee other than I
hope this doesn't cause any more undue stress for her.
She's dealing with a personal health issue, is all we've been told, and I hope things are going. It's tough, man. This is a tough stretch for the softball program.
Yeah, it sure is. And I just hope she's okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, they beat Louisiana Lafayette, and then they got
ruled by Alabama. It was ranked number 21.
Yeah, the games they played against ranked team, they really haven't been very. So we'll see. They won a lot of games preseason last year, I believe, and then then once the Big Ten played. So we'll see. I'm not overly optimistic, and this ain't going to help.
No.
I mean, if there's players divided, but you also don't know, without any of the players talking, if the version he gave the DI is exactly he may have been spinning that to push.
No, you're right.
Don't you? I mean, you read all the quotes. He's obviously pushing a narrative, wouldn't you say?
Clearly.
I mean, he used that, and the fact that it was an audio message, I found that odd, but I'm assuming the DI had reached out to him.
I assume so.
And it wouldn't surprise me if nobody else did. I mean, I like I said, I was waiting for Iowa to release something, and knowing that they couldn't, I kept waiting for comment from Iowa, and I knew they weren't going to comment. And I thought about reaching out to this guy, and then when I found out more about it and was told that it was probably going to be released on Friday, I decided I'll just kind of wait. And again, I wouldn't have wanted to have given that guy that big of a platform without getting the other side. I would have been hesitant to run the story with just his side. But the problem is we may never get Iowa softball.
And part of it, we heard that this had happened, but his name was still listed as the coach as of like Friday.
I'm guessing that was very specifically part of the case as far as the deliberations. Would you agree, Tom?
Yes, and we'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see. But I don't think we're going to hear much from Iowa.
Well, if we hear anything from Iowa, it'll be like a softball player deciding, okay, I'll go on the show. That's what it's going to be. I don't think Beth
2025. They might just put some on their Facebook.
Beth has said all she's going to say.
Yes, and I understand she's very limited in what she can say for obvious reasons.
Yes. Wasn't there an athlete who recently took something to Facebook to make their comments? They just put it on their Facebook page and everybody kind of ran
probably,
it.
but I
can't remember who that was.
I can't recall who that would be at this stage. But
I don't remember. It was a couple years ago.
But yeah, it's just unfortunate. I mean, it's just not the kind of attention you want, and I know it's a very sensitive topic because one of the posts when Iowa softball posted their tweet about their win against one of the very first comment was, "Hey, not this kneeling crap. We got through. We settled that 5 years ago. Stick to softball and leave politics out of it." That was the first comment.
Uh-huh.
See,
so they're the ones who made it political. The comment made it political. Immediately,
his response all they did was post that they won.
Uh-huh.
But this guy was responding because the story had come out, and obviously this person, I'm guessing, sided with the coach in this, and he was upset and was basically saying, "Hey, shut up! Don't do politics. Just play softball." He was basically saying,
"Well, look at this. For example, just about an hour ago, Iowa softball. Get up, Hawkeyes! Game day. Nice graphic.
Now read the comments underneath.
One comment. Infighting over kneeling seems like a good use of energy. That's the first comment. It's only a comment so far.
But that's the problem now.
Yeah.
And like I said, we don't know how accurate this guy's I mean, of course he knows exactly what was going on, but he gave us his definite spin on the events. So as you were reading the comments, what were you thinking?
I'm just, to me, it's a cut and dried situation.
Yeah.
And people need to let people make their own decisions rather than, you're not going to kneel.
Well, if you've been, maybe it's just the way it's designed here at Iowa, but if you go to a softball game, I can't even see the dugout. I'm up in the stands.
Yeah.
I can't see the dugout.
True.
I can't see them kneeling. I don't even know they're kneeling. I don't know if anybody else did.
I don't really pay attention.
Nobody seemed to care. We didn't see negative comments about kneeling before this.
I just,
No, let people express themselves. It's a free country, folks.
And like our caller, the truck driver whose son, God rest his soul, lost.
Yeah.
You know, he's somebody. If anybody had a right to be bitter about people not standing, it's him. But he said that's why my son went to fight, so people can do what they want. It's their business. And like I said, I stand. But that's my business.
Yes, that's right.
You may have summoned him. Hello.
Hey, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, dude.
Hey, dude.
Sorry to let you down. I'm just going to echo Cart. I'm just going to echo what Pat's saying is like, hey, as long as there are soldiers or soldiers' families who say this is not only not offensive, but it represents freedom of speech, I think the only way you're ever going to convince me that kneeling is in any way offensive is if every single flipping person that served said that. Well, then, okay, fine. But I just think it's kind of silly for someone like this coach to tell people what they can and can't do or what they should or shouldn't be offended by.
Well,
clearly he has people who served with him that says he's dead wrong.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
Later.
Yeah, but the coach made it seem like he was the knight in shining armor who was going to come and fix this woke culture.
Yeah.
Isn't that how you interpreted it?
Yes, it was.
That was
very much so.
And he used that audio message as a way to bury the Iowa softball program.
I didn't like how he tried to make the players who didn't like it but weren't saying anything to try and speak out at that meeting.
And do you find it interesting, though, that he did do this just with the student newspaper?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I wonder if he thought maybe like the Gazette or the Register. I'm not saying he should have called Hawk Fanatic, but maybe he would. Because I would think if it was the Gazette or the Register, they may have tried and waited until they could at least try to get another side of the story. But in fairness to the DI, maybe they did, and that was just as far as they were
got that
go.
story up really quickly after. The
Well, they waited for they did it like 10
That's
minutes
what I'm
later.
thinking,
They waited for and they put her best quote at the bottom of the story. No, it was a well-written story. I mean, I was frustrated that it gave him such a platform just to spew his side of it, and I just thought that was kind of unfair to Iowa softball.
Well, let's give this caller a platform right now. Hello.
Hey, good morning, guys. Greetings from Minneapolis.
Hi, Jay.
You know, what I was saying yesterday about, my son and all, I'm a 60-year-old guy. I have never experienced racism, and I never will, because I'm a white guy. It just doesn't happen. So I can empathize with what they're doing, and the fact that racism still exists. I mean, we see it. We see it everywhere now.
Yeah.
We have, without trying to get too political, the guy that wrote and said about kneeling, I looked at his Twitter page, and he is just a Trump guy right and left. I mean, all he's got on his page is stuff, belittling Democrats and everything.
Who are we talking about?
The guy who was angry about the tweet. The guy who said, well, you're infighting over this. That's
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I just, I will never experience racism. But, I have my son has got 2 sisters and a brother that are mixed race. And I've been with them, and I've seen racism. I've seen people, treating them differently because of the color of their skin. And, I think until we can come to a time where racism doesn't exist, which I don't see that happening in my lifetime, I will always, stand behind somebody that does something peacefully in protest.
Yeah.
And that's why the kneeling doesn't bother me.
It's one
It's like I told you guys yesterday. My son fought for the United States Army. He died, in defense of this country. And, when he was over in Iraq, he would send us messages letting us know that, hey, we're working with school kids over here. We're doing good. And he just happened to be in a Humvee that was the lead Humvee in a large group, and a roadside bomb went off.
Yeah.
But up until that point, he had complete belief in what he was doing, and so I can't fault him, and I can't fault the players if they take a knee.
Well, it's one of the cornerstones of our democracy.
It is.
It is, and yeah.
Well, thank you for calling.
No problem. You guys have a good day.
You too.
I want to touch on this,
right,
kind of
though.
changing subjects here, because I thought we're on the back end of the show here. When did the Iowa women's basketball team disrespect Ohio State? Did I miss that?
That's just
We haven't talked about that
nonsense.
yet. Yeah.
No, I don't. Never.
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Cody McMahon said that
In the post-game interview on BTN.
that we don't respect Ohio State.
Yeah, that Iowa's been disrespecting them and they wanted to get us.
I think that's because Iowa's been beating them with Caitlin Clark.
Yeah,
That's
I don't know
my
if
guess.
that's
That's all.
disrespect.
Iowa was better than Ohio State when Caitlin Clark was here,
Right.
and they can't accept it. That's all it is. I didn't even realize she had said it.
Yeah,
well,
it's kind of a
good.
firestorm on Twitter now.
I'm sure it is, and I'm sure there's people in the media that are using it to bring attention to themselves. Hey, look, this.
Angel Reese.
I mean, I get
I've
so
heard Angel Reese's
tired
name
of
so
that.
much the last 12
I get so
hours.
tired of that stuff. But yeah, Iowa was better. I mean, Ohio State watched Iowa get to the NCAA final game in each of the last 2 years, and
Beat them handily in one of those, right?
Didn't sit well with them.
no, that's all that is.
What's that?
Didn't they beat them pretty handily, like 105 to something?
Oh, we beat them by like 30 points in the
In the
Yeah.
Big Ten
Big Ten
championship,
final.
was it last year?
But that's not disrespect.
Two
That's
years,
just beating
2
them.
years ago. They beat them 102 to 75.
I mean, we killed them.
Yes.
And then, last year was overtime with Nebraska. It was a heck of a game.
Did you see the interview with Caitlin? They were talking. Jan got her first technical, and Caitlin was like, when I was playing, Lisa and Jan, I got the technicals for this. She basically said I was the one and bitched and moaned to the officials. They didn't have to. And she was proud of it. She had a big proud. Yeah,
There
was
was
the
a
one.
video of her that I shared on social media where she's like, she'd just gotten done yelling and she's on the sideline. She was Izzo. She is right on that sideline. And they cut back to Connor. He's just got his head in his hands like, please, honey, sit down.
And you
You're
remember
embarrassing
the
us."
Drake video,
It
don't
was
you?
great.
You remember the video from the Drake game?
Yes.
Yeah.
Connor wasn't with her there. They cut to her, and then she was just pointing and screaming, frothing at the mouth at the officials. And I just love that.
Okay, now my favorite scene, though, from
Frothing at them.
from the Big Ten tournament was Lisa knocking back a Bud Light.
Yes.
Yeah, mine too.
Absolutely.
I mean, she
my
was
favorite.
probably drinking it normally, but the picture I saw looked like she was slamming it.
Well, I think she was shooting it. She had poked a hole in it. And
Oh, yeah.
Then I saw her throw it down right after she.
Yeah.
Smash it
Well,
against
she
her
smashed it
forehead,
against
yeah.
her forehead, and then she headbutted her husband. Then they went back to watching the game.
It is a great photo, though.
It
It is.
Oh, my God.
Poor Lisa though. She's just there trying to drink a beer, and there's, she's on.
Well, she was an analyst last
I know,
night. Yeah,
and
it was great.
she's
good.
great.
She did a good job.
She's good, and she's so obvious. And she's like at halftime. Well, when Jan switched to the zone, Ohio State's terrible against the zone offense because they can't shoot.
They don't shoot well.
They did make enough threes to win that game because Iowa's offense was discombobulated in the second half. But Ohio State, I don't see them making a big. They just can't shoot.
They're just.
Cody McMahon's not a great shooter.
They've lost 4 out of their last 9 games. They're not that good.
No, they're not. I think Iowa's a more skilled basketball team.
Very much.
I think
They're more athletic.
Ohio State's more athletic. But there's times where I watch Cody McMahon, and unless she's shooting very close to the basket, I don't give her a good chance. She's making it. She's just not a very good. Those first 2 threes she made, that to me, that was just a fluke almost. But because then Iowa made a couple adjustments. But no, I think Lucy just ran out of gas. I think that was part of it. And Ohio State defended her better.
They did.
They weren't going underneath the screen. They weren't letting her get to her mid-range game as much. But I didn't see any blatant one-sided officiating.
No.
I did not see that. And
No,
I
I didn't either.
I know that's out there. I didn't realize that Cody McMahon. I can only imagine the networking that's going on social media now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing there's certain people in the Iowa media they're just outraged by those comments, and they're not going to let them go.
Well, one of them is the one who shared it.
Oh, I guess I didn't even. I don't even pay attention.
I mean, I watched the game, and it's
who shared it.
Well, who's that? Kyle, what's his name? Kyle
Huseman?
Oh, the guy.
Huseman? I think he's the
Yeah,
one who
see, I
shared
don't
it.
follow him on Twitter, so I don't see.
And then everybody was retweeting him.
So he was complaining about the officiating?
No, he wasn't complaining about fishing. He was the one saying, well, let me find it here. I'll read it. It shouldn't be that hard.
There were some.
Yeah, Kyle Huseman. Cody McMahon just called out Iowa on the BTN postgame broadcast, saying the Hawkeyes have disrespectful views toward Ohio State.
See, I don't.
And so everybody started retweeting.
I think you're right, Pat. I think your take is right.
Yeah, and to me, the more attention you give it, the better it is for her. To me, ignore it. Because I think this just comes down to they were jealous because they could not
A lot of
beat
pictures
Iowa.
of her flipping the double bird in the Maryland game.
Well, they are. I just think they could not handle that Iowa was better than them with Caitlin Clark.
We sure were.
They just were. I mean, they had no answer for Caitlin Clark. And after that game, of course, Caitlin celebrated. Maybe they resented that, but that's not disrespect.
No,
they beat you by almost 30.
Yeah,
they boat raced you.
Wasn't it there at Ohio State when Caitlin got hurt by the fan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was disrespectful.
That's disrespect.
Yeah.
Ohio State's done nothing but disrespect the Iowa women's basketball program. Now maybe somebody will hear us comment and they'll put it out on Twitter.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll be a war.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go on record right now and say I hope UCLA beats them by 50 points today.
That would be fun to watch.
I've been told that there's not a lot of love lost between the coaching staffs either, between Iowa and Ohio State.
No, I don't think there is. And I'm not quite sure what the genesis of it is, except that I think you're right.
I just think Ohio State's pissed that Iowa's good in women's basketball. Hey, we're Ohio State. Why should we have to be, Caitlin Clark's usually go to Ohio State. Well, she grew up in Iowa.
Yeah.
And she's Iowa's. And she's going to yell at the officials for as long as she lives.
It is great the tournament's in Indianapolis.
Man, you get her.
Be there.
You get her sitting next to Margaret McCaffrey, man. That is quite.
Well, Margaret couldn't be there, so she was channeling.
She was channeling her inner Margaret McCaffrey, and she had Margaret's
Fran screwing up the turkey at Thanksgiving. Those two just screaming at you.
Well, they had Margaret's daughter Merritt was sitting next to Caitlin at the game.
Oh, is that who that was?
They showed one time where Caitlin's up just screaming, and Merritt's looking at her cell phone. I laughed so hard at that. I mean, for some reason, I get a real kick out of it when Caitlin yells and screams at officials. But she was doing that at the Drake game. It was hilarious because she was just right there in the front row of the stands, and she was letting them know how she feels.
People were coming out after Connor and Patrick because in one of the photos they're looking at their phones. I was like, well, they're watching the men's game.
I mean,
probably keeping,
But that's all everyone does these days.
What's
I mean, you look at a photo from like 20 years ago, everyone's watching the event. You look at a photo now, half are looking at their cell phone.
No, it's true, and it's not a good thing. People need to be in the moment, and
I agree. There's people that are actually watching the game that's right in front of them on their cell phone.
On the cell phone.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
I don't get that either, but it's bizarre. Now, there's times where with my seat at Carver, as I'm in the front row of the press row, when the people stand,
you have to look at the monitor.
I can stand myself, but if I stand, the row behind me has to stand. Yeah. But I end up just sitting there watching it on the Jumbotron sometimes. And I have no problem with the people standing. I remember the guys in front of me a couple years ago. They're like, "Hey, man, do you mind if we?" I'm like, "Guys, you're paying fans. I'm a media sloth. Do what you want. Stand, yes."
See, at the gymnastics meet last night, I watched the big Jumbotron quite a bit.
Was there any heckling the officials or anything?
Karn got out of hand. She had to be censured.
Does Karn have a get-back coach? Holds her back.
But no, I found myself watching the monitors just because it's bigger.
Now, did our guest from the radio, did she perform last night?
Yes, Gianna, yes.
Yes, okay.
And she performed well.
Okay.
See, my view at Kinnick is not – I'm up that third row with, Brommelkamp and Jugdish and whoever else is up there, the kind of nerds and losers, and I got to watch them all.
Yeah, Gianna Masselli.
See, I think –
Animal House reference.
I think the worst place to be at Kinnick is in the front row. I mean, the sun – I love where we are in the second row.
You mean in the press box?
Yeah, in the press box. Yeah. I've never been in the front. I've sat in the front row a couple times, but man, for like those 11 o'clock games, that sun is brutal.
My only issue is the Hawk Vision people sometimes eat up there beforehand and leave food. Some crumbs and spilled pop and stuff. First world problems.
Complain to Weitzel. Weitzel will take care of it.
There was a memo sent.
I'll tell you what, though, and I've said it before, Iowa's game day is as good as any or better than any in the Big. Now, I haven't I haven't experienced UCLA, but of all the other ones that I've experienced, and I've even done Oregon. I remember doing Oregon back, but that was 30 years ago. But Iowa's game day it's good. They do a really good job.
Penn State, I went to a Penn State road game once.
Well, it's good. But Iowa's just combined with how close you park to the stadium, how easy it is to access the stadium, how easy it is to find it where you need to go, and but just the whole setup, the food and everything. They do a good job.
You said being in the front row of the press box. Now, we had seats right behind the Iowa team for a number of years when we got off the road. And, man, that is a completely different game.
To where you can hear what's going on the sideline?
Oh, my God.
See, that's what I would like.
Yeah.
Well, you don't see as well, but you see behind the scenes a lot.
See, I'd like to be enough.
And it's fascinating.
Yeah, I'd like to be high enough, like 10 rows, where you can see what's on the field, helmet level, but then also hear and see what's going on the sideline.
Players getting yelled at when they screw up and stuff. Yeah.
Wouldn't you like to be on the opposing? Because I remember talking to Melvin Gordon at the Big Ten kickoff thing, and I asked him about Kinnick Stadium, and he's like, "Man, with Kinnick," he goes, "they're right there. They're just right there. They know your mom's name. They know your girlfriend's name. They know what." He goes, "They're just right there, and they just never let it." He's talking about the fans right behind.
Well, and they didn't like you, Melvin, because you.
Yes, and he goes, and he understood. I'll tell you what, he was a good interview. He's like, and I understand that there was a little added hate with me because I had decommitted, and it also didn't help the fact that he turned out to be one of the greatest running backs. I didn't think he was ever going to be that good. Did you?
God, he was good.
God, he was good. Yes, he was.
I do like the people who sit behind Fran at the basketball games and tweet out when he starts swearing. He just dropped 3 F-bombs during the timeout. That's pretty good.
He hasn't had as many of those timeout fits of rage that he used to have. He hasn't had as many of those this year, but I think part of that could be, too, and I've talked about he's maybe mellowed a little bit in his older age, but maybe he's a little more understanding and sympathetic toward this team, too, knowing what it is, you know?
Could very well
I mean, I think there's times where he's gone nuts in the past because he knows he can get more out of this team. They're not given enough with their talent. And to me, this team, man, it's tapped. I mean, there's not a lot to ride with right now.
No, there isn't.
There really isn't. So I hope they win tomorrow, but I'm not overly optimistic. Are you?
No.
And Nebraska's not very good. They could come out and lay an egg, but I just think Nebraska's going to. They've lost 4 in a row. Their season is, I mean.
No, I think we're going to see what we've been seeing. Iowa's going to play them tough for the first half.
Peyton and Josh are going to make some threes.
And the second half, we're going to run out of gas.
And Bryce Williams is a tough defend. He's a tough guy to guard. That Gary's good, but I'm telling you, I've said it before, it's going to be someone like a Sejian. Just going to
God.
Make a bunch of threes and what have you.
Of course, former Badger, of course. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But, yeah, it's been a tough season, but it's amazing to think that it's almost over.
It really is.
I mean, basketball and football's different. You know, football, you play that last game, then you got a month before you play another game. Basketball, you go through this grind that never seems like it's going to end, and then it just ends.
Then all of a sudden
it's over. And
it could be all over for the men tomorrow.
Yeah,
be done.
And the women may have only one game left.
That's right.
Because as a 7 seed, or a 6 seed, they would play. They're still going to play a decent team.
Yes,
more than likely. They're not going to be playing a 6 the lowest seed. They're going to be playing a decent team. So we'll see.
So it'll be, if we're 6, we'll play an 11.
11. It'd be an 11 seed, and not a world beater, but still a decent team. Maybe a really good team from a smaller conference.
Yeah.
And see, then you worry about matchups. You worry about a lack of familiarity with the team, and all it takes is 1 or 2 players to be freakishly hot in an NCAA tournament game. And if Iowa's cold, we'll see. But like I said, I hope they can make a run because I want Lucy's season to last a little longer.
I hope so.
I mean, it'd be so cool if Lucy had another year. Same with Drew Thelwell.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it'd be nice.
And Drew, especially with that ankle.
Yeah, that one nice thing. Lucy has stayed healthy.
She has.
She has stayed healthy.
Well, except for that weird thing with
the
her
weird
knee.
She missed those. Yeah, she cut her knee. But that wasn't like anything. That was just something that needed a couple days to heal. But ankle injuries, knee injuries, knock on wood, she has managed to stay healthy, and she's been quite an addition. This team without her this year would have
struggled.
It would have been a struggle.
Yeah.
Now other girls may have risen up in her absence, but they really needed Lucy, and I'll tell you, that's Lisa and Jan went out and got her.
Yep.
They knew it, and they went out and got her. One of the last things Lisa did. But no, it's fun seeing Lisa on the postgame. What I like about her, she doesn't overtalk.
No.
She makes her point. She's concise. She gets it done, and then boom, then she's back to the analyst. Yeah. I like that. She's really good. And like I said, I think Fran would be great at that stuff, being a studio analyst, if that's something he wanted to do. Not saying that he's not going to be here next year. I've told you where I stand.
Wouldn't it be fun if Lisa had a tall boy in front of her the next time she's on?
Well, I think it'd be fun if she did. Wouldn't you like to see her shoot a beer on the network?
At the desk, yeah.
Yeah, wouldn't you? You know,
have her and Shimmy have a contest.
I think that would be funny.
I'd watch it. Hello.
Hi, guys. I just wanted to mention, because you haven't, that Taylor McCabe was 0 for 6.
Yes, she was.
He usually hits 2 or 3, and that could have been a difference.
Oh, yeah.
It sure could have. And, well, as a team, we didn't shoot well last night. But, no, Taylor didn't have her usual kind of game either.
No, you're right. I do remember them when she had that one where she was wide open, too, late in the game, and that was her 6th attempt. And I remember, and the moment it left her hand, it didn't look like it was going in.
No, she had a lot of good looks, too.
Yeah. Most of them were good looks.
Yes, they were.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she doesn't
I've got
seem...
another.
Yeah, go ahead.
The school in Naperville, Illinois, is that where the Iowa girl transferred
I believe
to?
so. Yes.
Her name is Bella?
Yes, that's what I was referring to when I saw the story about her transfer, and I remember reading the dateline, and it said Naperville, Illinois. It all came back to me.
Uh-huh.
She transferred out to Iowa to North. Yeah, so they're the other power.
So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but her father was a very famous professional wrestler fighter guy.
Wasn't it John Mira?
Yes, Frank, I think his name.
Frank Mira, yes.
Oh, Frank Mira?
Yeah.
He's a UFC guy.
Yeah. His daughter was here.
And incidentally, her schooling is being paid for by the leader of that league, Dana White.
Yes.
Because he wants her to be part of the women's fighters after college.
Well, I'll tell you this, as a pro wrestling fan, that company, because they merged into one company, I can't remember what it's called, they have an NIL program where they see athletes they think could do UFC or professional wrestling or now boxing. They've just bought some boxing.
Whatever they can do to make money, more power to them.
Yeah, which is a good idea.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for the call.
Hey, thanks.
But no, I forgot about Taylor McCabe. Now
I think it's called TKO. That's the company. It's called TKO.
Taylor doesn't seem to shoot as well in transition. I mean, you give her a nice screen and she can get set up and take.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what, Sita Falter, though, she was game to the very end. She knew those three she was taking in that. And
those were huge because she hadn't shot well either. But she hit 2 threes.
It seems like the bigger the moment, the more likely she's going to make it. Yeah, she doesn't make those threes. That game's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't really have much else going on at that point. They weren't. I mean, Ava was scoring most of her points either on putbacks or in transit. She wasn't scoring a bunch on half-court sets, and Addie just didn't. I mean, Jan gave Addie a chance early, but it was just not a good matchup for Addie.
No.
And but I saw Addie cheering on the bench. She didn't seem resentful or anything. It's a team, and I still say 22-10. Pretty good. It's
pretty good.
Pretty good season so far.
Yeah,
win one or two NCAA games. No, this, like I say, this has been good work.
I mean, our seeding wasn't that far off. I mean, people say, 11 seed. Well, we finished in the top 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's pretty close.
I do want to mention too, because people start asking. The selection show is a week from tomorrow at 7:00 on ESPN for the women.
Oh, it's a full week.
A week from Sunday.
Well, yeah, the women have.
Sucks.
It's after the men's.
Well, it's after the men. Yeah, the women have. Well, if you're the women, it's nice. You get a week off.
Yeah, you rest. Yeah,
you get a rest. You can, Now, when is spring break for Iowa?
I feel like it's not this coming week, but the week after. I think.
Okay, because
I am not sure of that.
I can find out really quickly.
It'd be interesting. I think it's in another week. So they'll have a week where they don't have to play any games, and then they have a week where they don't have school.
Yeah.
So that'll be a little time for them to.
Well, it's too bad that they don't get the pairings out though, so that give the coaches extra time.
Actually, it is this
for
coming
study.
week.
I think it is.
No. The 16th through the 23rd.
Spring break?
That's a week. Okay, for some reason I thought it was next week. Yeah.
Spring break is not this coming week. It's the
week after. 16th to the
23rd,
according to public safety, because I know they had a news release.
So that's one nice thing, though, that comes during the tournament where they can just take a week. They don't have to worry if they're still alive in the tournament. You don't have to worry about academics. You can just that makes it a little easier. So would that
be when the women's first and second round games are that week? That would be. I'm trying to do that. Okay.
Yeah,
so we wouldn't have students on campus for those home games.
Well, they're not going to.
We're not going to get.
No, but I'm saying
they're not going to host anyway. I wonder where they'll get sent.
That's the thing. If it's in the Midwest, I could see some Iowa fans making that trip.
Oh, yeah. Do you think they'd put them anywhere to where they'd play Iowa State again?
Ooh. Where's Iowa State?
They do like to play games like that.
Not in the first round.
No, but they do like to.
They always throw Iowa in with Creighton, too, a lot.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Creighton or
How about Lauren Jensen?
Or like some Southern Illinois.
Could you imagine if they would have kept her?
she would have been a key.
But
piece.
Lauren Jensen obviously saw this is going to be Caitlin's team, and I'll give her credit though. She went to. I never imagined she was that good.
And she put a dagger in our back, man.
Did you see any of that in her brief time playing at Iowa?
No, she just didn't play it that much. I mean, you didn't get a feel for how good or what she was going to become because she just didn't.
But wasn't that even before Caitlin arrived? Because she came here before Caitlin, didn't she?
Lauren was in Caitlin's class, I believe.
Oh, okay. They were in the same class?
I believe.
Okay. So, all right. Well,
I mean, I could be wrong about that, but
Molly's not coming in, by the way. She's not here today, so we don't have to.
So, what do you guys do from?
Overtime.
What do you guys do? Well, yeah, I've noticed I'm on the clock. I'll send Captain a memo.
Yeah,
saying
definitely get
time and a half.
Time and a half.
He's back Monday, though, right?
Theoretically, I mean, something could come up. I mean, he's still recovering, so he's not. He doesn't know if something might, happen or he might not. But he is tentatively penciled in, yes, for next week and probably, hopefully Monday.
And no knee pus.
You can bring that up with him if he's here Monday.
That'd be a good name for a band.
I would go see Knee Pus at Gabe's. I would.
Yeah, Knee Pus at Gabe's, man. They're a little loud, but boy, that guitarist is really good.
Is good.
Did you ever play at Gabe's?
oh my gosh, yes, it's 3 different.
Was it called Gabe's?
Yes.
Oh wow, okay.
3 different bands.
Oh, so 3 different
and
bands.
acts, yeah.
Okay.
Played downstairs and played upstairs. And the worst thing in the world is getting a Hammond B3 organ up those back stairs.
Bands still have to load up.
I thought you were going to say the worst thing was getting a ham and cheese sandwich, and you were going to talk about getting food poisoning. That's what I thought you were getting ready to say.
I don't think I would eat any food served at Gabe's.
Remember that Geico commercial with Rob Lowe when he finds the sushi on the subway?
Yes.
God, I love those
The
commercials.
bad decision, good decision.
God, and remember the one where he's watching the girls at the swimming pool? That was Geico, wasn't it? Do you remember those commercials?
Uh-huh.
Oh, those were some of the...
No, that was DirecTV, wasn't
it? DirecTV, that's right. Those
were
were some of the funniest commercials. Rob Lowe was... I never dreamed he had that in him. He was hilarious. There was
the Rob Lowe who made good decisions and the Rob Lowe
who made bad decisions. And the bad decisions were...
Good casting.
Yes.
And he was hilarious in that role.
He's the guy who's made good and bad decisions.
Yeah, and well, that's why they were doing that. He makes fun of himself. All right, we better go.
Yeah, we better cut this thing.
Everybody, enjoy this beautiful day.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Yeah.
Suterman Show on Monday is our next Talk.
Go Hawks.
Hello.